Explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you all very much for joining us. It's been a fantastic evening. It wasn't a marathon, it was just a camaraderie as we invite you to be a part of Talk Today as you're out and about in your homes and around your yards, but not on the roads. Stay in place safely until all clear has been issued. We understood the government's going to meet at midday, and maybe we get an update, but we want to hear from you. Mr. Art Connor sits with me still. I've been enjoying your company for the last 15 days, I think. So I look forward to more banter and more discussion as we invite you to call and hear that. What's that? Soothing, silky voice of Susan as she answers. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
You're welcome, and thanks very much for joining us. It is another edition of Talk Today. I think we've determined that it is a Thursday. It's sometime in July. We believe it's the 4th, because if Monday was, the 1st, and that was a public holiday, my nephew celebrated his birthday the 2nd. That was Tuesday, so I guess today must be the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
So
good one.
July the 4th,
Yes.
1776.
Happy birthday to America.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. A country, who sort of recognized as a federal republic? Mm-hmm. Is that what it would be?
Yes, yeah.
The political scientist and Mr. Hart, here, and now today too is in the UK going to the polls.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting, no?
Today.
What, 248, to today, is that 248 years? There, but Susan do the math quick, she's smart. And then the US is celebrating its independence, and the UK is going to its election.
Yeah, and they expect Labour to sweep.
Yeah.
Have a almost clean sweep. It'll be interesting. And coming Sunday, French. Elections, the runoffs again as well. That's becoming intriguing. The moderates and the far right trying to thwart the far left, trying to thwart the far right from gaining a majority. But it's a weird situation anyway, because even Macron, he's not up for elections until 2027, 25, somewhere around there as well. So whomever leads the government will be the prime minister. It has been basically, what should I say, traditional that the prime minister, certain things like defense and the army and things of that nature would normally be run by the president, Macron, and it seems as if he's going to want to claw away some of those powers from him as well, if his party comes to power, if they gain the majority.
Yeah, that's where it's interesting. I mean, I like to listen to you. I learn, by asking questions and trying to understand the answers. In this instance, from what just a cursory read of sort of the European media in particular, maybe we've seen across many of the European nations that shift to, would that be the right?
Yes.
Right over might, I think,
Yeah.
And just a notion, I mean, talk politically, right, left, center, the far right.
Right. Yeah.
I think one of the greatest philosophers and maybe political commentators was George Carlin. The way he emphasized things, and as my Samuel would say, he says, isn't it amazing that your stand-up comics give you a better insight and commentary than the newscasters?
He was one of my favorite comics. Yeah.
I struggle, with his profanity, but I'll be honest with you, man. I would suffer through it because he was very insightful. I don't know which president it was, and he was at the National Press Club, I think, in the U.S. at some point, and he gave an address. I think that's probably when he was probably most restrained for his normal usage, but it's very pointed, a strong intellect. I want to say that to share that where are we in Cayman in having the commentators who openly critique constructively government and private sector, and it's not to destroy, it's to say, why is this thing this way? Why is it not this way? To defend it, but also, to critique it in a way that may have a change. If we did that, though, how do you think that we would be seen? Because it doesn't seem to be the ethos of our people.
Well, I tell you what, I think more and more people are beginning to appreciate and accept it.
Yeah.
And whether or not, social media has anything to do, with that, where, on TikTok and everywhere else you see, people on their soap boxes, talking and criticizing. So it's becoming more acceptable.
Well, whether it's accurate and authentic as the British media has, sort of presented, it would appear that these same individuals, many, thankfully, again, if the media accounts are accurate, are people who are not even yet eligible to vote. So these are teenagers, not yet 18, and they're influencing political debate. They're swinging the agenda. That is significant. I say that, and only because I know your intellect. What would be your thought in the Cayman context that we say, you can vote at 16, not 18? Or, you got to wait till you're 21. What would be your view on the voters' age in this country?
I think where it's at now, at age 18, and where provisions have been made that if you are going to turn 18 before election day, that you can pre-register, something that years ago you didn't have. Probably, I think that came into being in the last 8, maybe 12 years. So I would stick with the age with the age 18. I would leave it at least age 21 to run for office.
You do that,
as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where your wisdom would probably prevail. Me, I'm thinking, well, it should be equitable. If I can vote at 18, I should be a stand for election 18. It mightn't win, all right? But, if an 81-year-old can run and be successful because he has the vitality and the experience, but not an 18-year-old, Some would say he can't do any worse, but we see what happened in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So what about that? You, and why would you keep 18, as you shared, but why the 21 for the eligibility to be a candidate?
I think to hold public office at that level and with the amount of responsibility that comes with it, you have to mature.
Okay.
You have to be at a certain level of maturity. And I see the age 18 voting as being the gateway for you to get involved in politics, to get that sort of quote unquote experience, dip your feet into it, to prepare you then for that age 21 when you would be eligible to run for a political office.
All right, I'm told we got a break to take. Mr. Hart has been generous and gracious with his time. He's going to allow us to benefit from his side. We're going to talk about other things, but we want to hear from people who are still, figuring out, what's going on with the weather. And we just want to be here for you. So 949-8037 and 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Share your feedback on Plan Cayman, the proposed development plan for the Cayman Islands. Access the planning statement at www.plancayman.ky and submit your feedback online or at the ongoing public consultation meetings. Online feedback can be made at plancayman.ky until July 30th.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube.
Download
our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Mr. Art Connor for not just spending that extended time with us as we brought you the coverage on the passage of Hurricane Beryl. But now here on Talk Today, and the phone lines are open. We want to hear from you. What, as you survey your own yards, as you speak into your family and friends across the entire 3 islands, what are you hearing? We know the government will meet, and unless and until the all clear is issued, please stay inside. We want you to be safe. When you do move about, do so sensibly, because who knows what may be lying behind the spaces and the places that you go. But let's start from that perspective. We can speak as much as we wish about anything else, but if I might just ask of you, one of our listeners agrees with you, says, yep, they experienced at age 18, agreement with 18 for voting and 21 because they need experience. I was only asking from the perspective, people are saying, well, how can I get involved? And as you shared, that's the gateway, get registered. If you're going to be 18 on, or before the date of the election, you're going to be eligible. If you're the day after, well, you're a day late and a dollar short. With that in mind, what about the notion of raising the drinking age from 18 to 21? We see some states within the U.S., I'm not sure about other in other countries, but some of their states have a higher age than 18. I think some may still have 18, but you can vote at 18, but you can't drink legally until you're 21.
Well, some people may argue differently and say, it is not a fair comparison.
Okay.
But you can vote at age 18, and if you make a mistake when you vote, you either have the choice at the ballot box to go to the presiding officer and say, I've messed up my ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Please give me another one. And they're obliged under the law to give you another ballot paper. Take that one, mark it as being spoiled, put it away someplace where it can't be used again and has to be accounted for later. And they go back into the voting booth and they can vote again. Mm-hmm. Once they do it to their satisfaction, then they drop it into the ballot box.
So you get a chance.
They also have voted for a particular candidate, hopefully, unless they wrote, may have written themselves in and they weren't eligible, but they have voted for a candidate. Now, that candidate may prove to be a disaster, at the end of the day. And I use that comparison to say that if you want to be able to drink at age 18, and let's say, for instance, you drink and you drive and you make a fatal error, when you compare the two errors, there is no comparison, between the two as well. Again, why, to me, some people may say, well, it's only 3 years, does it make that much of a difference in terms of responsibility? I would say yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. 3 years more. And if take it a little bit further, also, this also almost unseen apprenticeship that you have in the United States political system. If you notice, many politicians have worked for former politicians as aides, as campaign organizers, even justices of the Supreme Court. Some of them have clerked for other justices as well. So you have that built-in apprenticeship system, as well, that allows for it. I don't think, yes, on the basis of equity, you may say, if you can vote at 18, why can't you run for political office? And if you can drink at age 18, why shouldn't you be able to do other things? There are those who would argue that maybe the age for drinking should be raised to 21.
And we understand from the medical profession that the development of the body's organs, in some cases, I've heard as high as 25, before the body can process alcohol or other drugs. That may be in and of itself a reason just biologically to consider those things. But I guess that in these societal responsibilities and to what we think is appropriate. The reason why I'm asking that is that this is where back to that social commentary. Are we willing to engage in these things? We might think, there's nothing wrong with it on the face with parity. 18 is 18 is 18. That's the age of majority. You can enter into a legal contract. But that error, as you reference, two errors, but they're not equal.
Yeah.
And one may be irreversible and fatal. All right. It's what I like with you, and I think perhaps not just the drinking age, but the age to smoke, a tobacco product. And these is where I think as adults, we need to be the drivers of these things, not waiting until something happens that affects us personally. That may be, such a thing that is so much of a burden to carry that we never, return from it. Let's do it now. Prevent something before it happens. Back to the political landscape, because with that, thinking back to the UK we do have a call. Thank you, Miss Susan. In the studio, always grateful to talk with Mr. Art Connor. As we go to the phone, say welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, Mr. Connor.
Hey,
Have a long
Mr. Raymond,
night
sir.
and good afternoon to Miss Susan and to all the listening public.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're a very, very busy man, Mr. Raymond. Been very busy.
I had an inspection, drive around inspection trip to look at the site. So there is wind damage, some trees blown down, some trees, so few driveways got trees blocked across it. And some coconut trees that had some weak bodies, they blew over, just came crashing down. And most of the damage is from rocks coming up on the south side up in people's yards. That's a common thing. Every time we have a hurricane or a hurricane pass by far brings up rocks into people's yards. And on the south coast of the island, homes that are 75 feet from the water or 150 feet from the water got rocks and debris up in the yards.
Okay, and these are rocks that are coming from the ocean floor.
Yes, correct. The south coast of the island, Cayman Brac, like from Coral Isle going east out at sea, there are millions of coral rocks. And they wash in every time we have a hurricane pass the island and just goes up in people's yards. Some of them bang up chip the concrete, and some end up on top of the porch if it's a low-lying house, not foundation, not built high enough above the ground. That's always the problem on the south side of Cayman Brac. And also the sea splashed over the Coral Isle sea wall, came inside by the bar area, also blown off some tiles, shingles off the roof. And there's a house on the south coast of the island that some of the tiles were ripped off. So when I was telling you this morning what I was watching was hurricane force winds, that was exactly what we had. And they said it was only extended out 40 miles from the center. But that has been disproven. And the regrettable thing, I didn't have any way to actually record the velocity, how many miles per hour. But with my estimation and being used to it, I kept telling you all that it was near hurricane force winds that were bearing down on us for roughly 4 hours before we got a break with that. So it took down several trees and on the south coast of the island, and even on the north coast and up inside up on the bluff, fruit trees, mangoes, and other fruits were blown off the trees like how it was. And remember, I was telling you all that Grand Cayman going to get bad effects from the wind. Well, that's exactly what happened. You got plenty of trees down, signs down, and wind damage.
Mm-hmm. And I guess as we have the official assessment and then post-analysis, we can compare to what you were sharing. This perhaps be another testament to your insight. But thanks always, Mr. Raymond. Anything else you want to share with us?
Yes, the sea on the north side, I noticed some ground swell seas coming in up to about 4 feet, but far out at sea, it's smooth, there's no white caps. But the south side is still very rough. And we got overcast and cloudy skies, a beautiful day, no rain, going to be a good day for cleaning up and working.
Yeah, and maybe as soon, I guess, we can get started with that working, as you shared. Perhaps that allows people to get, their business back together, right?
Yes. Do you know if government buildings will be reopening tomorrow as usual?
Well, we are now told that at 1 p.m. there's going to be a statement. CIG TV will carry it to you live. We'll tap into it and share. We don't have any other particulars at this time on that, but it was anticipated, that the passage of this hurricane would be as it was, and by this time we'll have a good understanding of what's transpiring, with the expectation that businesses and government may open. Now, it may be limited opening. I'm not going to speculate, but there is a statement expected at 1 p.m.
How stores, Tibbetts Enterprises is open in Cayman Brac. Few of the stores is open. I went to Marketplace a while ago, to grocery store, and got a few items, so they're open. And
Now remember that the all clear has been issued for the Bragg and Little Cayman, but here in Grand Cayman it has not as yet been issued, and until that is done, we won't know exactly what's going to be transferring and at what time, whether the government and or private sector entities will be opening for business.
Yes, sir. Understood. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The tanker with the propane, that's waiting to get improved weather to come in to finish discharging propane. And also one of the ships that was en route to Grand Cayman came around the east end of Cuba and is out to the south of Cuba. Looks like tomorrow evening, one of the freighters will be arriving off Grand Cayman with food supplies. Also, the HMS Forth, that's the British warship, the smaller one, 295-footer. It's doing 20.4 knots, headed into the Caribbean, coming from Puerto Rico, and there's another one that's also coming to the Cayman Island area. So that's, like I said before, being a British Crown colony, we have that support. The British has those ships lined up to come and assist us during these bad times with natural disasters, which is very good, and thank them very much.
We were Mr. Raymond, we were talking about that off air earlier, and we know that the governor pointed out this morning exactly what you said. They have positioned themselves so that once the hurricane has crossed us, that they then could come to render assistance to us. Based on preliminary observations, it doesn't seem as if we need too much assistance. The aerial reconnaissance that they would do, we could either do that by drone, or we have our 2 helicopters here as well. And while we understand that Grenada is no longer a British territory, it is a part of the Commonwealth, I believe, and and a former possession. I would advocate for those ships going directly to assist our brothers and sisters in the Eastern Caribbean, rather than, coming to the Cayman Islands if we really are not in dire need of their assistance. What do you think, Mr. Sterling?
Well, that's a discussion. I want to also, in answering, ask Mr. Raymond and others who talked and referred to what was a label for us, British Crown Colony. We have the break to take, and when we come back, this is some of the discussions we can have for the record, but, maybe today to get people thinking. Mr. Raymond, respectfully, sir, thank you for sharing. We're going to pause. I'm going to be in with Mr. Horrocks, sort of insight and invitation, and have a conversation. So stay tuned.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
The mission of the National Conservation Council and the Department of Environment is to ensure our islands consider responsible use of our natural resources while preserving our native species and habitats for future generations. Learn more at conservation.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks truly to Mr. O'Connor for sharing. Ms. Connor, in answering the question that you asked about the UK's, I'm not sure if it's called a warship, but one of its, marine assets providing assistance probably to its Caribbean territories, possessions, and the like, and you sharing, well, why not look at those that are most in need, most immediate? We might need some help somewhat, but maybe not as urgent relative to, say, Grenada or St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the like. To answer you, can I then ask, I've always heard that Cayman was a British Crown colony. Not that it has been challenged, but in recent years, it would appear but that's not necessarily the case anymore, if it ever was. Not to put you on the spot, you can send me where to research it, but was there such a thing? If it is, does it still exist? And what are we from the constitutional, political, sort of position? Are we in overseas territory? Is that different from a crown colony? Those things, because we repeat a lot, but we don't quite sure what is it that we're saying.
Well, some will argue that while it is a change in nomenclature, along with that change in nomenclature is also the change in the approach that we take towards the inhabitants of the territories. Some will proffer that argument to say that is what is, and they will use as proof, white papers that that have been designed, Partnership for Progress and Prosperity, and all of those other things, and they will use that. Then there's the argument in the other camp that will say it is nothing more than a change, and unless you have full charge of your ultimate destiny as a country, then whether you call it Crown Colony, British Dependent Territory, British Overseas Territory, it's all one and the same at the end of the day.
Is it? Okay.
Some will argue that.
And then the Crown dependencies. So if all of the words are synonymous, why so many words? And it's just, I remember doing the paper and arguing and just asking the question because I didn't know. Maybe if, and only through you, I'll ask more, but we're reminded there's a caller joining us.
Okay.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing. Yes, hello.
Raymond's still here, holding on.
Oh, Mr.
We
Raymond.
didn't realize that.
Sorry, our apologies, sir. We did not realize that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, the Carib Voyager, the container ship will be Grand Cayman tomorrow. It's around off of Santiago, Cuba, now doing 12.6 knots, headed to Grand Cayman. So you all will get the ship there tomorrow.
Okay. Well, and that now Santiago is bringing stuff across for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it left from Port Everglades and it went up along the north coast of Cuba to avoid the hurricane that came around the east end of Cuba. And now it's coming down along the south coast.
Which one?
Santiago.
Which one of the shipping lines runs that particular vessel?
I think it's maybe Hyde Shipping, or
okay.
I'm not sure which company got it chartered.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And the ship that I was talking about that was headed toward the hurricane, I went on the radio, tried to contact, but it's out of range, and it's now. I see it actually cross way headed south, so he altered course. He's down in 83, 30 west, and the hurricane must be in 82 now, going right down through there. Man, anyway, we wished him all the best. It's either a Polish captain or a Romanian captain that is in command of the ship, because I talked with it about 3 weeks ago. It passed here carrying a load of iron ore to Mexico, and they discharged that, now going back to Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, wished him all the best. He made a mistake and come the wrong path and getting into the effects of the hurricane. Anyway, that's the life of a seaman, or the mistake of the captain or the owners, one of the two.
All right.
Okay, got you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Raymond. And as we go up, anything else, sir? Because we didn't realize you were on just then, still holding on. All right. Thanks very much, Mr. Raymond. And as we head up to the headline news at 1, I'm wondering to what extent the wider public, and I'll say this again, to be guided, I think once a public servant, always a public servant. You signed the Official Secrets Act, we probably bound by that. Right? Commentary like this, discussion like this, publicly or privately, we may impose a sense of self-censorship because we're not quite sure. We may do so because we're polite and respectful. We don't want to be improper, certainly. But it also seems to extend not just to government and statutory authorities and government companies. Many private sector entities seem to hold that over the heads of employees when it's beneficial to the private sector entity as to that employee's public commentary, political involvement, and the like. So if that is the allegation or perception or the reality, potentially that's impacting the democracy. How do we get around that? What do we do?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, of sorts.
Okay. Well,
I'm not sure that I have an answer for that one.
It's still early, sir.
At least right now.
Yeah, it's still early, man. All right, we're told there's a live press briefing. I'm going to make a joke, but I can leave that as opposed to one that's not live. But coming up 1 p.m. now on CIG TV. So we'll go over to these and then we'll be here.
Okay.
All right.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
We're all waiting now for the all clear for Grand Cayman, and cleanup then begins.
In Georgetown East, District MP and Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Roy McTaggart, says while there have been a few reports of damage, things could have been a lot worse.
I've looked around, particularly in my neighbourhood, there are leaves and branches that are down that have to be cleared up. I know that the road, the South Sound Road, is littered with sand and debris that has washed up. But I have to say, thanks be to God. I mean, the one area that I worry about the most every time we have a rain event is Randack Gardens. The reports that I'm getting out of there this morning is that it is not bad. The fact that the culvert in South Sound was opened and draining water, and they had the government installed a pump and drainage there, has really contributed to a successful outcome there today.
Minister for Tourism and Ports, Honourable Kenneth Bryan, has an update on when cruise operations may be back in business.
And I just got off the phone with Ms. Michelle Page, who's from the cruise lines, because one of the things after a storm is getting back to business so people can provide for their families and make money. So I've already spoke to them, given them a preliminary update saying the port infrastructure, just from a visual look, looks safe. Obviously, the engineers will have to take a proper assessment of the dock itself, but it looks like we'll be able to get back up in operations very soon. I would like to say tomorrow, but I think tomorrow may be too early. So I'm going to shoot for Saturday to try to get those cruise lines back up and going, because one thing about Cayman is we can move fast and we're going to clean up this country really quick so our visitors can enjoy.
Water Authority Cayman asks the public that as service is restored to please report any leaks, especially on the main line, by calling the emergency helpline at 946-4357. That's 946-HELP. They also update that water service has been restored to customers in Cayman Brac, west of Bobby Thompson Way and Huldah Avenue, and customers east of Frank Sound Junction, East End, and North Side. Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Nick Gent, states there are other things we need to be careful of as the floodwaters subside.
We're going to be seeing, I'm sure, issues of potential contamination of land around people's properties. Overloaded drains may spill sewage materials, and people are going to potentially worry about those, and I can understand that. Fortunately, most spilt sewage from the drains is not going to be a particular hazard to us. The very large amount of water in some ways comes to our rescue. It disperses hazardous bacteria and viruses fairly quickly. When the sun comes back out, we get very good strong ultraviolet light here, which very rapidly decontaminate the grounds around us.
However, there may still be unsightly material.
Sewage material lying on the surfaces, and people may quite reasonably want to remove that and restore a nice, clean environment to themselves. I'd suggest that people err on the side of caution, wear a good pair of household rubber gloves that proprietary brands pick up materials, either flush them down through the drains or place them into a domestic waste bag, and they can go out with it with the domestic waste. But afterwards, err on the side of caution. A good wash of the hands using detergent or soap and water to make sure you're nice and clean, particularly as you're going on to handle foodstuffs and the like afterwards. And on the foodstuffs, if you have got any spoilt foodstuffs, it's also a good time to dispose of those kinds of things.
No all clear yet for Grand Cayman as conditions lighten up in Georgetown. Here's Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller.
Well, it can't decide if it wants to keep raining or get clear, because just about 10 minutes ago, it was a beautiful day. There was nary a raindrop and the winds had died down significantly, but now I've just popped my head out. It's raining again, lots of wind. I see a few folks walking about, so just a quick reminder that the all clear for Grand Cayman has not been issued, so make sure to stay put. Reporting for Radio Cayman News from Georgetown, I'm Carsley Fuller.
And that's the latest news. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears.
Good afternoon and welcome back to our live update on Hurricane Beryl. I'm Jevi Ebanks in the studio, and we're joined by Her Excellency the Governor, Miss Jane Owen, and the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly. Thank you both for being here. We'd like to start with remarks from the Honorable Premier.
Thank you, and once again, good evening. When we met last evening, we were given issues to ensure that you had the necessary preparations in place. We did so not just in isolation, but against the background that we had ever confidence that the Lord would hear our prayer. I am absolutely delighted to say that He has delivered us yet another time. He did it before and He did it again. So first of all, Governor and ourselves, on behalf of the entire government, the civil service, the public officers, all the teams that are involved, wish to acknowledge with gratitude publicly for the deliverance. And this is something that is ringing throughout the Caribbean. I had an opportunity this morning to speak to Prime Minister Holness, who called through to me and gave the report that although a Category 4 had hit Jamaica, when Gilbert hit as a Category 3, it took them months to recover. And he was absolutely delighted to see that the impact that Jamaica received compared to what it got in Gilbert is much, much less, to the extent the airport there in Jamaica will be open in Montego Bay today, and the main one in Kingston will be open tomorrow. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because we are a caring country and we depend on each other. And just as they went through the storm and was able to declare it all clear, we did indicate to Governor and I that we would see you on the other side. The other side is now. And so we're taking this opportunity to say that the all clear is now given for the island of Grand Cayman, which makes it an all clear that we gave this morning for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman at 9 a.m. As of now, there's an immediate all clear. I will turn it over to Her Excellency Governor to deal with what that means. In effect, still exercise caution. And so, Trevor.
Thank you, Honourable Premier. Now, Her Excellency the Governor.
Yes, thank you very much. So thank you, Honourable Premier, and thank you everybody for your patience and forbearance, and thank you for staying where you are over the last few hours. We've had a lot of people out there checking the debris and the damage. We hope that it is relatively limited, which is why we are going ahead, as Honourable Premier said, with the all clear from now. The key things to remember, though, as you do go outside, look at walking around, looking at the damage, driving your vehicles, walking along near the coast, please do take extra care. Please remember that, you know, there could still be things out there, hazards that could be dangerous. So be aware of it. Be aware of debris. If you see anything that looks particularly dangerous, like a fallen telegraph pole or anything, a power line, please do report that in. We've still got the emergency line going. We will still be issuing, keeping in place a small craft warning. So the marine warning will transfer to a small craft warning, but it means also please take care of, do not enter the water to go swimming. Swimming is a bad idea. There's still riptides. There's still quite a few dangerous currents out there. So it's an all clear, but with a particular request to you all to be cautious, because we really want to keep everybody safe today as well.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Just as a reminder, the hurricane season has just begun. Advice for taking care of supplies, especially plywood and structural protection, should be taking place. Caution when assessing properties to avoid downed power lines and obstructions, and of course encouraging and enhancing personal storm preparedness plans, tools and resources. We'd like to thank you, especially our first responders and those of the National Emergency Operation Center, and thank you all for tuning in and watching live. All of the team working tirelessly behind the scenes to keep Cayman safe. As mentioned, let's be safe and continue to monitor CIG channels, CaymanPrepared.ky, Radio Cayman, and other official sources for more updates. Reporting from the Government Administration Building, I'm Jevi Ebanks. Thank you for joining us.
All right, well, welcome back. And as the Honorable Premier, supported by Her Excellency, has indicated, the all clear has been issued now for Grand Cayman. It was previously issued for the sister islands. There are a number of questions, but I think for a future show, Mr. Ori, trying to understand some of the legislation that governs some of these things, what some of these things mean. in light of Her Excellency's caution, hey, all clear is given, but stay away from the waters, the riptides and the like. There was a suggestion to, I struggle with it, shelter in place. We've adopted some really interesting terminology, but there wasn't anything mandating. There was a day when, not long ago, when good common sense prevailed and people knew what to do. Nowadays, you gotta imprison them sometimes, and then you got they imprison having more rights than they're free. But but the reason why I deliberately and consciously do that is maybe I shouldn't have, because you've been up for a while now, so you mightn't be understandably, as energized and enthused as I may be. But these are the things that we want when we talk about civics, to question the public health legislation. Where does that lie? Does it need to be enhanced? Are there sufficient powers? Are there too much powers? What about the constitutional responsibilities of those appointed premier or ministers? Are these discussions that we should not be having if we're civil servants? We should not be having unless we're students of political science? Or these are discussions that, they should be at the dinner table every day?
Yep, everyone should be having those discussions. They should really be able to understand the who's and the whys and the whens.
Right.
Extremely important. You may question, at what level that discussion, should be. And it's almost like anything else. If you start at the grassroots, then you can take it and you can elevate it to whatever height that you want to elevate it to, if it starts there.
I'll use the word argument. In and of itself may not have a negative connotation. Oh, you're in an argument. Yes, but understanding how to craft an argument and maybe substitute that for a more palatable work, a debate, a discussion,
a dialogue,
right? But that's maybe part of the challenge. We're not looking at words and understanding the import, or we're not teaching people how to craft, their arguments, as it were. You watch a debate and it's so artificial. That's not the way things go. But maybe there's some rules, and maybe they're still archaic. But nonetheless, there is a step in, at least a starting point. I want to share that to say, those today who are engaged in those discussions might find themselves a little bit better position for negotiating, the next contract, whether it's an employment or some other deal, for getting the promotion, for winning a political campaign, for whichever, because they know how to, present themselves and defend their positions and advocate. But we're not teaching that, huh?
Doesn't seem so.
Okay. I guess I got to call and say, hey, boy, you can't, like a politician. and this is what probably precludes many people from saying anything.
But I for instance, I hear people say, well, why don't we teach civics in our schools? Why don't we teach our children about Caymanian history? And sometimes the persons who are saying that, it is more of a reaction than it is a statement of fact, because they don't know what takes place in school. They don't know what the curriculum is in the school. And many of them probably don't have children in the schools, because if they did, I believe that they would be having those discussions with the principals and with the educators.
All right, well, the phone lines are available, 949-8037. Any calls, Mr. Akal? All right, Mr. Art, thank you for joining us, sir. We have a call as we go to... No? He said no, he said yes. I didn't ask.
I want to throw something out there to
yes, sir.
Sterling as well.
Yes, sir.
I see where on one social media group, people were questioning the whole issue of insurance. And that is, of course, going to come up after burial, because you're going to see more than likely insurance rates rise. So this person says, absolutely, why should those who can least afford the current home insurance rates subsidize those who are most able to afford it? The person says, I know it's the essence of capitalism, but even free markets recognize the role that regulators and governments can play in providing a level playing field. Time to consider a rating system and blah, blah, blah. But what they were basically talking about was that here's food for thought. Apartments, condos, hotels, and houses along the coastline should have their premiums increase, and they give an amount between 5 and 6%. And those that choose to build inland should have their premiums reduced. I'm not sure if that is a viable and a valid argument. That would be a set of balance. I don't see why people that build inland should pay for those that build on the coastlines. And we know that the rates are going to go up, and we know that it is going to negatively affect those who may not have had any adverse impact from the storm whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But this uneven system, that we have, everybody pays, and you pay even if you don't use.
Yeah. There was a similar message that came in earlier, and I wanted to share. And it sounded like people are saying, well, if you're on the coastline, as you shared, should your premium be the same as people inland? I wanted to maybe ask from a couple of perspectives. In tort law, I'm told that if you do something that contributes to your injuries, then you'll be assessed a percentage when it comes to the damages awarded that will be reduced. So would it be similarly that if you are, can be alleged to have been underinsured, you're penalized for that? If you have a property and you haven't done anything to secure it, very much like I gather, if you're driving in such a way, no seatbelt or some way, perhaps your injuries would have been much less had you not did the thing you did or done what you're supposed to. Would the amount you would get be reduced according to some formula that's accepted? I'm sure the actuaries can come up with it. But secondly, what about not just your inaction and contributing to the damage, but I'm not an insurance expert, but I'm told when it comes to health insurance plans, this group is risk rated. A lot of people with high claims and high probability of claims, the same sort of type policy from the same company is going to cost more than another group who don't present that same risk profile. Could not apply to properties. A property on Cameron Brack on the Bluff versus one, I don't know, in South Sound. Two different, geographies. So is that something that requires political will? Is it market? Because it's a case of one subsidizing the other.
Yeah. I would imagine that there could be some political input, into it. Then at the end of the day, it's a business decision between the insurer and the insured. But then also there are government regulations that they have to adhere to, and those regulations are made by the politicians. So that is where they would you would get the political input.
Well, we do have a voice call coming in on the WhatsApp. But I maybe ask, in addition to that, but we'll take the call first, about these discussions, because someone alleged similarly that what if people are buying properties like that, exposing them for increased risk and the aftermath of a storm, because financially there's a windfall from the insurance provider. You buy a property subjected to damage from a storm, and you walk away with a nice insurance settlement. That's alleged by something I read there, but can't tell you I understand it any more than what I just shared with you. Shall we take this call, Mr. Akal? All right. Let's go to the WhatsApp. You have the good company of Mr. Art. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Hi there, gentlemen. Son of the soil.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
Yeah, still in one piece. Very fortunate, blessed. Could have been a whole lot worse, huh?
So true.
It could be a lot worse, man.
But there's a few things in life that we never come to grips with, no matter how old you get. And one is knowing how to count over many blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I just heard you talking about the insurance situation. The way that's all streamed out.
Mm-hmm.
I remember some years ago, there was a series of hurricanes in the Eastern Caribbean. And actually, all the itinerary was cut back, that it, channeled into the Western Caribbean, Cayman being one of the ports. And the insurances was allowed, even though Cayman didn't have any claims, wasn't any claims made here. Cayman was one of the main places that they jacked up the rates on. And I mean, how can something like that be justified? I mean, do they have a license to kill? I keep wondering about, things like this. And I think until we get some form, I don't know how far, how deep we can extend it, but we need maybe the be all end all. We need some form, and I mean quick, of consumer protection. It won't be able to fix everything. I know that, because we're in a very peculiar position here. Everything is imported. It's like we're under England. We in the Caribbean. We're more American than real Yankees sometimes look like. So here we're very it's a peculiar place, and have a lot of laws, and capitalism is really seem to be going mad, But I wonder about these things. You have any thoughts on that?
Let me start. You want to weigh in?
Or I'm just shooting in the dark.
No. I think that as you are putting, food for thought on the table, some people may not necessarily be inclined. Some people are willing to comment immediately. They need to give it some thought, but it will resonate with some. What is consumer protection? I mean, you can have legislation.
We can't wait till we did and then decide to talk. That's beyond the point of no return. Huh?
No, you need to make your talk continue beyond the grave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, but it's your rights. I mean, what is said, really, truly, that the average person, it was said, whether you want to take it with a grain of salt or not, there's two things that the average person have, is their vote and their labor, and they can't get much for either one. Whether that remains to be true, it was said, maybe we're just on the current motion of the moment, whoever founded that was in that position to make such a statement. Anyway, yeah, what's your take on it? I mean, I know where you guys sit and everything else, and maybe and I don't want to go down that road, but it's coming from me. But can you give me something, what we could do, or what you think maybe could be, more implemented, that we could actually get some kind of justice here? I mean, the thing about consumer protection, it's spread far and wide. The need for that spreads far and wide, because, how many times have you bought a watermelon or an avocado pear in a store, take it home, only find out that it's no good? Would it make sense for you to drive back to the supermarket or wherever you brought it, and you spend more money on gasoline, right? So it's almost like a done deal. Now, still, I'm wondering things like, I don't want to be going all over the place here, but I try to stay relevant in the sense of we're talking about protection internally. Why can't we get food more or less from Jamaica? A Jamaican farmer showed me a few years back, it was like something like over 800 pounds. And that was just a drop in the bucket, apparently, of tomatoes that apparently he hadn't been able to sell. So he had to feed them to pigs and whatever other, creature would eat them. And they're superior to ones that you get from North America. They grow it in Central America, right? They take the best and then they ship out third grade food here. It is what it is, but I don't see how we can be claiming to be this first world country and thing with so much of these I don't. The kind of regime.
Caller, how do you get someone to import goods from another country where the prices are possibly more favorable? But how does the government get a merchant to do that voluntarily, or can they get them to do it?
Can they be encouraged, Osi? Can they be encouraged?
Yes. That would be one way to encourage them by offering favorable conditions if they do so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned the fact that you're asking for consumer protection legislation, I would imagine. So that's why I'm sort of juxtaposing the carrot approach as opposed to the stick approach, which would be the legislation.
Well, see, it's not a cure all our ills,
right?
That's for sure, right?
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we are in such a position that even a lot of what we call third world countries has these particular protections, right, within their country. So, I mean, socially, I still trying to find out what makes Cayman a first world country, I don't know whether, finances or not, because we are missing, we are off cue when it comes down on a lot of social amenities that should be deserving to our progress to where we are. We deserve more than that. Now, can we make demands? I don't think so. But why not? I mean, you have your legislators. I know sometimes they had went down to the Bay Islands or somewhere in Honduras to actually see if they could actually lease land. But we know the score. I mean, look, I used to say it like it is, regardless of what come hell or high water, that's how I live. I will just, risk being persecuted, but I can have my say. You know who runs Cayman, you know that, right? It's a bunch of business people got together to protect their own interests. So all of that is in the way of the average person getting their dues. I got one thing to say before you cut me off. Since I got you guys on the line together, I wouldn't have called unless it was this way. Election is coming up, not too far in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the corner. What if I said to you all, as an example, that you're going to throw your hat in the ring to try to become a parliamentarian? Would you be willing, before declaration, to put all your assets, all of your businesses in bond, in trust?
If you have any.
Yes, but that has to be mandatory for one and all. Would you be willing? The question is to you. Would you be willing to sign off on that?
I
would be willing.
I would have
all your assets. Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between putting all my assets and putting all of my investments, because my house may be my asset. And if my house is outrightly owned by me, right, I don't see any reason why I should have to, put that in any escrow account or whatever.
Was he going extreme?
No. If we're gonna have an honest debate, you have to say exactly what it is you mean.
Okay, but what I meant, and put it this way, yeah, I guess I know what you mean. Is what you say to mean. But what I am trying to say to you is, when I say your assets, as a business, we're not talking. Come on, we're not going down that personal.
And that is why I said that is what I said. If I had a business.
Okay, then let me ask you point blank frank. Then.
Okay.
What is your take on having a conflict of interest in running as a parliamentarian from the onset?
what is my viewpoint on that?
Mhm.
My viewpoint is that if any of the assets that you own, if there's any thought or anyone could assume that you are going to benefit and enhance those assets that you have as a result of your political office, then they should be, you either declare them or you take them and you put them in the
you leaving it to
account.
chance though. You leaving this to chance. This should be mandatory. Where if you could run, how can you serve to masters at a time and expect to be a good representative? You know for yourself that so many politicians has went there with good intentions. The road to hell is paved with them, right? How?
Well, let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. No, caller, let me answer your question, right? If I were running for politics and I was required to sign up to a register of interest, my answer to you is yes, I would do so.
Right. And I figured that's how it was. Maybe I didn't get it right, hit the bullseye exactly right front. I was given more or less a wider, scope of like the intricacies of what they would be involved with, right? But I think there is where we actually have fallen off. And I know whatever as ministers stand, we could have a big long conversation about that, which time don't permit, you know that. But yeah, the winner takes all to, victor the spoils and whatever you have not. But I don't think we'll ever get really a good. I hear about getting the right politician and this, whatever. Yeah, a lot of people go in with good intentions, but there's a number game in the house too. And if you could be right, but you got 8 other people with you, the other 10 gonna have their way. You know how they go, right? Majority rule. They say that's the first, stroke of democracy, which they say also democracy ain't so democratic. But anyway, maybe I'm going a little too far-fetched here out on the left wing. Just want to say, though, that I think that there is much more people who see it like me, but maybe not willing to talk it like me.
I think any honest person seeking political office should not, I won't say would not, should not have any objections whatsoever if there is legislation in place that ensures that the businesses that he is involved in does not benefit from the position that he holds, the office position that he holds. Any right-thinking, honest person running for politics should not object to that.
See, it leaves a lot of space for speculation amongst the voters. That's the first thing. The conflict of interest comes up. And it should also come with penalties. Just like how we all have penalties. You break a law, you pay for it. Then you have penalties for them, fines and sentences as well. For much whom is given, much is expected. Heavy is the head who wears the crown. Anyway, I hope we can have part 2 of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very much for sharing. And appreciate you, calling. Mr. Osiwi, we got a quick break.
Yeah. I'm going to stay with you until 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Well,
and then I'm going to run.
Well, make sure between now and then and do it as much as we did throughout. Our listeners who were here with us, from 7 p.m. yesterday, not only the vote of thanks that they shared, we're grateful for them staying tuned. We try to do our best to keep them informed and comforted and supported and nurtured and but we're grateful. And listener loyalty is something that we value and appreciate here at Radio Cayman. So thanks to listeners for being with us. As Joel talks about before, during, and after the storm. When we come back, rejoin us, please.
Yep.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Due to Hurricane Beryl, Kirk Market's hours of operation will be, for today, Thursday, 4th July, remain closed for the remainder of the day. And come tomorrow, Friday, July 5th, they'll be open from 6:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. Stay connected to Kirk Market's Facebook and Instagram accounts for further store hour updates. And share your feedback on Plan Cayman, the proposed development plan for the Cayman Islands. Access the planning statement at www.plancayman.ky and submit your feedback online or at the ongoing public consultation meetings. Online feedback can be made at plancayman.ky until July 30th.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Did you know that there are over 300 public rights of ways to the shoreline across the 3 Cayman Islands? Now you can find them easily with the new Shoreline iMap at gov.ky/shoreline.
Radio Cayman News.
My shutters are rattling.
The winds are really packing over here now.
We've got some pretty serious leading rains.
It's stronger now.
Actually, it's coming in spurts down here.
Lots of rain. I heard some thunder earlier.
Of course, Radio Cayman, my #1 radio station.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Well, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And we are still, interested in hearing from you in any and every topic. A quick reminder that the all clear now has been issued for the entire Cayman Islands. For the sister islands, it was issued much earlier. Just issued recently now publicly by the Honorable Premier and Her Excellency the Governor. To Mr. O'Connor, you've, I don't know, it's 1:30ish, 1:40ish now. 7 p.m. last evening we spent, a good time. And it wasn't even election coverage, so looking forward to the next one. But hopefully and prayerfully, we don't have to experience any other natural disaster, hurricane or otherwise. But if it is, always will value your company. If I might though, I know you reference, this is not how you said it, but this is how it could be. Mm-hmm. I enjoy your company, but 2 o'clock is my cutoff point. You've been here. But to that caller's point, though, the discussions, the banter, the interaction and exchange could be very healthy. And as we craft the arguments, as we take on each other's perspective, hopefully we'll get there.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. I'm told we have another caller joining us. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon.
And to you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Connor. I was just wondering if somebody from Water Authority has explained the rationale behind turning off the water prior to the storm. The water is back on now, but I'm just wondering what was the rationale to having the water turned on prior to. My understanding is that they were saying that they wanted a certain volume of water for after the storm.
The Honorable Premier did address that as well, and the justification being that they want to ensure They protect, the water resource. It's, was on for as long as they could, and they ensured people had adequate supply. It was off for, from about 11 p.m. to, maybe a 12-hour stint. But the water company, apparently serving the Western Peninsula, did not interrupt their service. So maybe there's something to be had as to whether this stays on or not. Mr. Honor, what do you think? I mean, good decision to turn it off? Bad decision to turn it off?
I can understand the reasons based on past experience. What confused me initially was the turning off so early, and it seems as if there was an explanation for that, whether or not that was a mix-up and it wasn't intended. We're hearing, for instance, that once they declared what their intentions was going to be, everyone started filling up, and that caused the water pressure, to drop as well. In the past, we have seen the Water Authority take similar decisions in terms of, at a certain time with an approaching hurricane, turning the water off, re-inspecting their lines, before, because it could, any broken lines or seepage could end up contaminating the lines and everything. So we have seen that done before. I think the debacle was when it happened so early, when people were expecting 9 o'clock, 9:30, whatever it was, and it came about earlier.
Yeah, and I think Honorable Premier, if I recall correctly, shared that the actual process of turning the water off required a certain act, and that in and of itself, it required timing and physical sort of mobilization. Maybe you can give them, an overview and a review, sir, and they might be able to take on board your suggestions.
Well, actually, I do not have a suggestion as to what should have been done. What I think, though, as a public service, they owe the public an explanation as to their rationale. I mean, nobody can understate the use of water in these times, and I'm aware that consumption probably will be up with most people at home and everything else. But one, they promised to knock it off a certain time, which they did much earlier. And two, I cannot understand if the water company for the West is on. What is the difference that the Water Authority can't keep on their service?
I think it is almost to a certain extent like comparing apples and oranges, though.
In what way?
I believe that if you look at some of the lines where the Water Authority came on, where their lines are situated, and look at where the lines that came on Water Company and where they're situated, they may not be subject to the same type of environment and exposure.
And you're correct, but I would dare say to you, from my experience, the water the water company in the West has more difficult terrains to deal with.
But they may not be exposed to the surf and to sea water. After Hurricane Ivan, I think the Water Authority had issues in two areas. One in someone reminded me today that in Bordentown as well, but we certainly know that in the South Sound area they had an issue, serious issue there.
Okay.
I'm not defending them because I don't know what went on yesterday, but I can tell you I can understand why they did what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, I think as they evaluate this, hopefully, like many things, they can take away with some of the things that work better than other things, and some things that could be revised, and some things that need to be cemented and discarded. It seems, So
I would dare say though that Water Authority Cayman owed the public an explanation as to what took place, and they can also even advise people as to the reasoning as to the decision that they were about to take around 9 o'clock yesterday.
I don't know. I think Sterling, you would have mentioned this to him that the Miss Julia did issue a statement in that regard. So that she has made a public statement in that regard.
Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't hear that one.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that, and as we put that for you. Anything else you want to share before we take the next call?
Well, I'm just glad to know that the storm kept its distance, and seemingly, from what I've been hearing, that the country have fared pretty well. And hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, everybody can resume their regular lives.
Indeed. I mean, better, So thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, but before you go to the next caller, one of our listeners, former politician, points out that that register of interest, all assets over 10% must be declared instantly, and it must be done when the person declares as a candidate. So register of interest must be issued or done when a person declares as a candidate as well.
Yeah, I think I've registered interest, and these are some good discussions relative to that sort of understanding of the civics that we keep saying should be taught. And does it apply to spouse and siblings and children, business partners? To what extent, and how often, and what are the consequences for non-declaration? And who can inspect it, and why is only them, and the like. Take the other call, sir. I know Mr. Art was going to have to, take leave in 12 minutes, but let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne and Mr. Art, Connor.
Hey, yes, sir. How are you today?
Okay, man. Thanks for.
All right. Well, we certainly heard you a number of times, and we're grateful to hear you again.
Yeah, man. I heard you all speaking earlier about the age of drinking in Cayman. In America, I think what is most important to them of having the age of 21 is because they don't want their young people drinking and driving in the United States, especially on those highways. To them, drinking and driving on the highway is worse than buying a gun at 18. I think that's the most important reason why they choose to do that. And when it comes to the port in Georgetown, I don't think the opposition or anyone else in the private sector should be rushing the government about building that dock. Whatever minister builds that dock, he's going to regret it. And as Kenneth Bryan, as my friend, I'm warning him not to build that dock. Captain Paul has already warned them about this. So I hope they're taking his warning also. Thank you very much.
All right. I thank you as well. And I'm told one more break and then we start. Well, if you can stay till 2, or you want to come back after the break, that's good. Or you want to?
I'll come back after.
You come
break.
back, and then this is a place where you have to leave sometimes, but you just don't want to leave.
I will. I have to. Yep.
Well, we're not kicking him out. All right, join us right after the break.
Summer's heating up, and so are the good times. Whether you are out on the water, enjoying the beach, or gathering with colleagues for an office bash, make it a feast to remember with Subway. From assorted sandwich platters to mouth-watering cookies, our catering menu has something for everyone. Perfect for groups of 5 or more. For food that's fresh, fast, and perfect for any occasion, choose Subway Catering. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Our rich and diverse natural environment is one of our most important assets. Strong coral reefs are our first line of defense against intense storm waves. Healthy seagrass beds and mangrove forests provide a nursery for the sea creatures we depend on, while our native forests stimulate our rain cycles and help to control inland flooding. Economic resilience requires environmental resilience.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us, and thanks to Mr. Articona for being a part of our discussion. So we do have a call online, and you are right, relative to the press release that was issued earlier from the director, Dr. Julia, over at the Water Authority. About it, so but let's take this call and then I'll try to put my glasses on and read this thing, right? Yep. Hey, welcome, thanks for calling. Okay, the call. All right, hold on now. All right, Mr. OC, I think I kind of don't know how to use your phone. And not consciously do something, sir. All right, well, you can't get a call to come up. Could be worse things, And while we ask you to navigate that, we'll find it and we'll read it for him as well.
Yeah, it looked like it was on Facebook and in a forum.
Yeah, right there. And when I went to it, I saw a fellow on a motorbike with a...
Yeah, and then it says here, water service restoration update. So it says...
Right. And we know the Water Authority.
Yeah. This doesn't say much in relation to this. It just says Authority Restoration. An update from our director about the authority's restoration efforts as service. I did the same thing that you did just now.
Hey, yeah. I don't feel so bad. Thank you for making me feel better.
No, you know what happened? My phone is down now to 8%, so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that telling me that it's time to go.
I had to go charge mine. It went down.
Yeah.
But we do have another call. You want to hear the call?
Sure. Let's grab the caller. Yeah.
Okay. As we go to 2 p.m. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling.
Hey, now the butler man, as he's been labeled by Miss OC. How are you?
Yeah, and I've been keeping up on them all night too. Good afternoon, OC.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am good, my friend. I am good, safe, and thank God that you all are cheer. I don't know what we eaten all night last night, but I come to find out that my friend up in East India, like Graham, I believe the weather wet up his fireworks, and he wrecked he not called back since this morning, so I believe his fireworks got wet, but anyway, me and him talk that over tomorrow.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, man, I would just listen to the comments that people making, different ones, about the water and different stuff like that. We had our current went off last night, around midnight, around 11 or 12, something like that, 12:30, and it didn't come back on till almost 7 o'clock this morning. And I think that is so unappreciated for people that decided to stay in their homes that don't have generators, because I never get a chance to hook up my generator, unfortunately, and because by seeing the storm so far south, I say, you know what, it probably just give us rain and nothing else, but I didn't realize that they were cut the current off for that long period of time. But I mean, I can understand when it have strong gust wind and causing threats to the poles and different stuff like that for that to happen, but there was nothing of that nature, but yet they left us without current for such a long time. And I can imagine people that wasn't in shelters last night that decided to bunk it out at their own home. If they did, I can imagine how uncomfortable they are if they have diabetes and different stuff like this. They should have some plan in order if the storm is not causing a complete disaster or chaos for the island, make it run as long as they can and then shut it off for the people. But to me, I think last night, it was a little too unacceptable for how long it was off and for no reason. No reason. It wasn't no pile of rain, no pile of wind, absolutely for no reason. But, I guess that's how it goes. I can't complain. I can't do it all by myself, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, there's a perspective, Mr. Ari.
Yeah. And we get your point, but Raymond was reporting to us, fairly regularly, and I'm thinking there were lines that actually went down in Cayman Brac, and because they talked about restoring them as well. So I don't think it was just them turning them off, but they actually had power lines that were down as a result of the weather.
Yeah, it possibility could have happened. That way, it could have been either on the south. The south doesn't have that much protection, so I'm on the north side, not protected by the bluff area. So it could have been that, but. I mean, you don't hear nothing, or they don't give no report out or anything. So, but I clearly understand what you're saying. Yeah, it could have been that, and that could have been the reason. But it was uncomfortable for me, and I don't know about anyone else. But hopefully they can. Well, I guess they can rectify that. If lines go down. This is not our first rodeo, so we had it worse. We had it. We were out current for days before, so. But anyway, just I thought I would keep on accompanying by saying something, and hopefully my friend listening and try. See, the sun coming out now, so hopefully he can try dry out his work.
Okay,
Yeah, man. Thanks for talking to y'all, and God protect y'all and be safe.
Sure, thank you.
And to you too, man. Thank you.
I want to apologize to the caller that spoke about the Water Authority and an explanation, because what I shared, and I actually shared this with someone else as well, and what you were looking at as well, Sterling, it seems as if that was just talking about the fact that it says here's an update from Director about the authority's restoration efforts. As surface is restored, please report any leaks, especially on the main lines, by calling, and they give you the number to call. But I believe that this may have been social on social media as opposed to a press release. But I'll try to clear it up because I don't want to give the wrong impression, to the caller.
Mhm.
But I do believe that there was a statement clarifying the situation, but I'll try to find it.
All right.
So Sterling, I'm going to leave you at this point in time. It has been a pleasure working, with you, and Kathy. Some long hours, but we enjoyed it, and
It was
I
fun.
can say for you as well as for myself, we do it because this is what we love doing. We enjoy doing. We enjoy imparting information to our audience, to the people of the Cayman Islands, such vital information, especially in a time when we're facing a dangerous threat.
I'm here to facilitate and encourage and stimulate discussion and get people to a space where they understand that we're sincere. If we ask, was an honor, sir, always is, and God's willing, who knows? I may find myself up early another morning, and between Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, who knows where I may find myself.
And
But
thanks to those persons who sent all of the kind comments, and again, happy that we could make some people feel extremely comfortable in situations that could be enormously tense as well. And
well, your presence, I think, made all the difference. So thank you very much. I'll see you very soon. You're back tomorrow?
Yeah, back.
All right. Hey, the reward for hard work is more work. So join me tomorrow morning, but come back right after this for more talk today. We'll wrap it up for today, and then God's willing tomorrow again.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time.
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Her Excellency the Governor Jane Owen confirms that Grand Cayman now has the all clear.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience and forbearance, and thank you for staying where you are over the last few hours. We've had a lot of people out there checking the debris and the damage. We hope that it is relatively limited, which is why we are going ahead, as Honourable Premier said, with the all clear from now. The key things to remember, though, as you do go outside, look at walking around, looking at the damage, driving your vehicles, walking along near the coast, please do take extra care.
Governor Owen reminds the public that though there is an all clear, that does not mean our environment is totally safe.
Please remember that, there could still be things out there, hazards that could be dangerous. So be aware of it. Be aware of debris. If you see anything that looks particularly dangerous, like a fallen telegraph pole or anything, a power line, please do report that in. We've still got the emergency line going. We will still be issuing, keeping in place a small craft warning. So the marine warning will transfer to a small craft warning, but it means also please take care of, do not enter the water to go swimming. Swimming is a bad idea. There's still riptides. There's still quite a few dangerous currents out there. So it's an all clear, but with a particular request to you all to be cautious, because we really want to keep everybody safe today as well.
And speaking of hazards,
there is one other hazard I really do want to talk to people about, and that is please, please, please do not use any gas, petrol or diesel electricity generators or pumps inside the house.
That's Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Nick Gent, warning of the dangers of using generators inside of the home.
They rapidly generate large quantities of carbon monoxide. You don't get any warning of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's quick, and by the time you're unwell, you've almost certainly got a lethal dose of carbon monoxide. So please, nothing driven by petrol, diesel or gas as generators or pumps inside a house, please. There is no safe way to use those. And having come through the storm so successfully with what appears to be so few injuries, let's make sure this next phase we all stay safe, please.
So for those who may still be without power, if using a generator, do so safely and wisely. According to CUC, there are currently 55 total outages with 3,415 customers affected. CUC ensures they are working to resolve all outages as safely and efficiently as possible. You can view the outages for yourselves on outageviewer.cuc.ky. The Water Authority Cayman advises the public that the offices in Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac will be open as normal on Friday, July 5th at 8:30 a.m. All staff should also report to work as normal. And that's the latest news. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Due to Hurricane Beryl, Kirk Market's hours of operation will be for today, Thursday, remain closed for the balance of the day. And come tomorrow, Friday, July 5th, they will be open from 6:30 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. Stay connected to Kirk Market's Facebook and Instagram accounts for further store hour updates.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you for joining us. And again, thanks to Mr. Art Connor. We're going to take this next call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, not doing too bad, you know. Good morning, good afternoon again to you.
Yeah, sometimes I just need to be reminded which day it is, you know. But welcome, man. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, I got a question and a suggestion. Do you know if this plywood that is going around that the politicians are giving to the people, do they have a national budget for that, or does that come out of their private money?
That probably is no. Offhand, no. I didn't ask, didn't inquire, but that's something we can find out. You know, and when you say their personal money, is that their personal money, or is that the money that's been allocated to them as parliamentarians for their constituency office and the like?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would like to find out.
Okay, yeah.
Because if there is a budget allocated for them to buy for this plywood, even if it's not for plywood specifically, whatever breakdown that they give it during this time of year, then during like the hurricane season and thing. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying, a suggestion would be to help the people to get hurricane shutters with that same budget, make it a government initiative fund to help the people get hurricane shutters for their place. You know, give it to the people on credit. Go there and install it. It doesn't have to be anything, any of the fancy shutters, but the people could have option of what kind of shutters they want. You know, I mean, middle class people or poor people that can't afford it on their own. You know, and I know that there's companies out there that do credits and all that kind of stuff. But a government initiative would make it probably more affordable for the poor people. You know, so that same budget that they would say if they spend $200,000 or $300,000 on plywood, just to say, right, just a figure off the top of my head, that could go towards helping the people get hurricane shutters, and they pay the government back monthly. They would have them installed, and they pay the government back monthly. If it's $100 a month or $200 a month, they pay it and they would have it, and it would go further than with the plywood, which is easily disposable. You know what I mean? So that is something that maybe that they could think about, probably doing generators too for couple of the homes. You know, build a little storeroom, and how 1 or 2 generators there, put it up off the ground. They would have to find out the elevation in the area and thing. Lift it up off the ground and put it that it could run at least 10 houses or something, just in case of anything, and make it a government initiative as well. Government funded by government. These are the kind of things that we should be looking into, because we're living in a hurricane zone, in the Caribbean. So this is just something that would probably help the people, live lives a little bit easier than being selective every time they go around to say, well, all right, this person got to get plywood. We're not got enough plywood to give this person. You got to vote for this person to get plywood from this person, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just I think it's a good idea to have the people get some hurricane shelters in the house.
So you're thinking in a national initiative, not coordinated or somehow orchestrated through the particular politician's office, but nationally. Is that what you're sharing?
Yeah, if that's possible, make it something. Yeah, like how it could probably fall under the housing ministry or something, like what they got there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you could go to the bank or even the development bank and say, well, I won't borrow money to do shutters on my house, but that isn't the same thing, because what they gonna charge you for the rates? You're not gonna pay no $100 a month or no $200 a month. They're gonna charge you more than that, which would be putting it out of the reach of some of the poor people. Some of the poor people might be able to afford $100 or even $200 a month, and say, well, okay, then we would fund you. Government would fund you, whatever agency, whatever you want to call it. If you want to put another agency in charge that government looks or whatever, but I'm just saying, it could work. Something is doable along those lines,
Mm-hmm. Well, our listener says, the caller has a good suggestion and even better, a good question and an even better suggestion. So if we can employ that, and then getting the shutters may make perhaps the plywood might find its way elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about,
Yeah.
So we can't just be doing the same thing, the same plywood politics era. Some people would need probably plywood, but it would be less because you got a larger population having shutters and stuff, working towards that,
Yeah.
So that's my little piece for today.
I like it, and this is where the country as a whole, maybe we put the interests of the safety of the country. It could reduce the cost to repair, the cost of insurance, sort of claims.
Thank you.
Businesses can still benefit. They can be good corporate citizens and the like. But thank you very much, for that perspective.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you too, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, no, you're most welcome. I thank you too. And do we have another call coming somewhere? We'll take the calls. But again, as we shared throughout, thank you all for joining us since 7 p.m. last evening, all the way through, for sharing, for being with us. We truly respect and appreciate our listeners. But a huge thanks to all who listened, whether continuously and throughout, or whether intermittently, or whether just join us now. Let's take this next call. Hey, welcome. Yeah, hello. Welcome. Thanks for calling. And as we, maybe the board is overheating. It's been on full run. No, that board goes constantly. Hey, 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp call 925-32-621. If you want to call and share your thought. Let's try it again. Hey, hello, caller, you're there. Welcome.
Good afternoon again, Dwayne.
Okay, our apologies then. We're not quite sure what happened, but thanks for not disconnecting. How are you?
Okay, man, I agree with what Armand just said.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense.
It sounds like something. Do you think it could work though?
Yeah, it can work. Mm-hmm. And the government can afford it too. I hear the opposition talking on the radio this morning that the Premier Juliano O'Connor wants to help those countries that are seriously affected by this Hurricane Beryl. So if the government has that type of finances that they're able to help other countries, they're able to have finances to help their own people. not to find ourselves in the situations those countries are finding themselves in with their own people. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. All right, we take the next call on the WhatsApp. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello. Hey, thanks for calling. Hello, are you there? Okay, for the call on the WhatsApp, once you are able to join us. And,
yes, Sterling.
All right, there you go, man. How are you?
All right. Yes, man. I just realized I was getting out of reach of the connection.
Okay. Well, that happens sometimes. I guess these phones
Yeah.
are a tether. They can keep us leashed, to our spaces nonetheless.
Right. I outside actually cleaning up, trying to get all these leaves out of the way because there are gonna be people driving on the road and stuff, and there's a lot of the palm leaves that I would assume they were the ones that were dried up and left on the treetops, so they all blow down and it's a big mess. But I got a few piles made up on the side of the road. I don't know if they're gonna be any trucks coming up picking up stuff, but
Well, as part of the cleanup, right? You're wondering to what extent now, that'll happen. So it's going to be a lot to deal with, right?
Yeah. I not rushing anything, because I understand big island, big population, and you need to have patience and stuff. I just doing my part, making sure that at least anything that I know wasn't in my yard it gets out, and not in my expense because I never left it that way. So
Well, I respect you for taking pride in your place, and then we all do that, then the places will look that much better.
Yeah, I just, people need a rest and stuff. A lot of people been up all night. I myself been up all night, but I like one of them night hours until after 24-hour shift. I don't feel like I did enough.
Yeah, well, sleep is important.
That's how I am, I'll tug it out 48 hours if I had to, but
Yeah, well, don't
it's only once a year we get to see, well, not once a year, but one time of the year we get to see these things happening, and we have to be like really responsive. And sometimes being responsive, no error for sleeping or anything like that. Sometimes, the way I appreciate you guys being awake, and I don't know how you did it, and I don't know if you went going to take a little power nap or what, but
Yeah, well, it's not said as a boast. It may have been something that I took pride in way back when, but I don't, say it that way now. But I'll say it this way specifically: let's not push our bodies, even though we think we can, even though we probably have. At some point, it may take its toll, and we may not appreciate the negative consequence. So sleep is key. I didn't take anything to keep me awake. Unfortunately, I am capable of staying awake for extended periods, but that's just how it is. But I've worked on it heavily, and take away stress, you actually sleep a lot better. And even if there are less hours, the sleep is that much more refreshing and rejuvenating. I liken it to the computers that have to be taken offline for their updates and their maintenance. So your body, you need to give it some needed rest, some peace and quiet. You know what I mean? Before we take this break, though, anything else you want to share?
I just wanted to know if there was going to be any cleanup, really, because I just about to leave the house and actually go and check out anywhere else that I see. I'd be interested in, because I want to take some photos and stuff like that as well. I got some really before and after pictures that I would have liked to take while the aftermath is now, and have a little bit of debris and shit and stuff playing around a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I want to catch the waves and stuff. I want to see what's going on.
Well, you're an avid photographer.
Have an idea for the future. Instead of people assuming that it'll be okay, and let's just see where we could go wrong and where we don't want to go wrong.
Right. Well, enjoy your photography. Please, as in any endeavor, make sure your safety is paramount. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon, and hopefully see some of your pictures when you share them. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care. Well, one final break for today, and then we'll end as close to 2:30 as possible. So call and then join us after.
Cayman Islands, your input can shape our future. Plan Cayman needs your input on the updated planning statement to create a sustainable community for everyone. Help shape Cayman's future by participating in public consultations with the Central Planning Authority and the Ministries for Planning and Sustainability. Together, we can build a thriving Cayman. For details and to find the meeting closest to you, visit plancayman.ky. Your voice matters. Let's plan Cayman together.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Mango season, you gotta love it. The Cayman Islands National Museum is pleased to feature Lukia, the family-friendly Mango Fest at the museum, Saturday, July 6th from 4 to 8 p.m. Purchase mangoes and other products by local artisans and specialty vendors, local food, live music, mango peeling, and eating competition. Take in all the sweet and unique flavors of the long, round, Julie mango, and so many more. Lukia at the museum on the waterfront, Saturday, July 6th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Lukia is proudly sponsored by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And I think we got time for one final call. Hey, welcome. Thank you for calling.
Thanks for taking my call, Mr. Sterling Dwayne Banks. It's Quincy Brown. How are you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you for taking time to make a call, sir.
You must be so exhausted. You've been going from yesterday, from 7 p.m. for sure on air. You've just been constantly going, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm not exhausted, but cognizant that one must be mindful of the limit to it you pushed about it. But, you know, tomorrow's another day. We give thanks for today, right?
We definitely give thanks for today and grateful that the all clear has been given now for all three islands, yes?
Mm-hmm. Indeed, it has been, yeah.
Charity begins at home. Always remember that. We have been abundantly blessed, hence the reason we could come to the aid of Grenada some years ago when they were ravaged. We could come to the aid of the Falkland Islands during the war. Cayman is a giving community. One who is blessed must bless others. But always remember, charity begins at home.
Mm-hmm.
using the stretch of my imagination, it seems to me we are so mankind. There are times we will, at the expense of our own people, perhaps send millions to other countries and even say, send 3 of your 100 people here and work here, even though we have unemployment. Maybe I'm being facetious. Maybe I'm stretching my imagination a little bit too much. But what I'm saying is charity begins at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Assist other Caribbean islands ravaged. Assist other people looking employment, but not at the expense of our Caymanian people. I think we all did well. We behaved ourselves. We adhered to the guidelines. But the season has just started. This is only the 4th of July. As I say, happy independence to the United States of America. Happy July 4th. We also celebrate Cayman's Constitution. Canada Day was July 1st. It's always back-to-back Canada Day, Cayman Constitution, America Independence. But the season is still very active. And just because this wasn't a bad one, let's just say, because we're still getting assessments done in Jamaica, here in Cayman, assessments are being done. I think we fared pretty well. I mean, the rains are still raining in certain parts of Grand Cayman, but we fared okay. Now, I'm not saying some people didn't get damaged. I'm looking at some of the roads, impassable. I'm seeing some of some buildings or some homes built too close to the water's edge got damaged. Oh, yes. But God has been good to us. We have been spared.
Yeah, a merciful God. Mm-hmm.
And I'll just close by saying the spirit of volunteerism is very important. I see people volunteering. We don't have no work. We're unemployed, but we're volunteering, whether that's at the animal shelter, whether that's cleaning debris on the road, because this is our community. But for goodness sake, if you won't give us work, as in the private sector or government, now that some of us have been granted our trade and business license, going out on our own limb to work for ourselves, please give us work in our own country. I'm Quincy Brown. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, thank you, Quincy, for sharing. And, well, let's just read this last message. And then this listener writes, I appreciate the gentleman suggesting a hurricane preparedness account for people to contribute to hurricane supplies, shutters, and generators. This was a great suggestion. I think we should do this. I remember Cayman having a Rebuild Cayman for Hurricane Ivan Fund. We had to contribute money at Foster's and different businesses and places. That, I think, was just as close to verbatim as possible. Great suggestion. It can be taken on board to be taken like others. Source the opinions of many and see how collectively we can come up with good, meaningful, credible, timely decisions that we can deploy. I thank all of you for joining us over the last couple of hours as we brought you the continued coverage for Hurricane Beryl. Thank the good Lord for His mercies and grace, love, provision, and protection, for sparing us safely. We recognize that in this path, many have been affected, some more so than others. We don't know as yet, what the impact would be. There are many who will go to the table and accept, and take what they're not deserving, and then there are those like us who will deny ourselves that rightful sort of contribution. But as this storm system, continues to move its way, there may be others in its path. Mexico, Belize, who knows? My prayer is that it dissipates. My prayer that it doesn't take lives. But this is only, the first month, so to speak, within the hurricane season, and according to the calendar, it extends to the end of November. But it is nature, and a disaster could be more than just a hurricane. So stay prayerful and vigilant. We are a compliant people, but we don't need to be complacent. We are people that are civil. It doesn't mean that we can't comment. We are people that are loving and kind and generous, but it doesn't mean that we have to be taken for fools. And if anything else, we are as a people that need to come together and unite. We heard the Honourable Opposition Leader commend the government for doing a sterling job. Maybe this is time for us, as Mr. Hart shared, the UK going to elections. We see France on Sunday, the US in November, ours sometime next year, in April potentially. A lot of things are happening, and this is where democracies are strengthened, when communities get involved, when young people are eligible to vote, they get registered and encouraged by their parents. or when we take up the mantle and ensure that going forward, it is about building a stronger, resilient community because we leverage the resources not for selfish gain, but for a sense of a lasting legacy. And just as we build generational wealth for us and those that come after, we have to build that, or within our country, so that it extends beyond the material possessions. Please join Mr. Art tomorrow morning for the record. Come back for Talk Today, God's willing. I'll join you. My prayer always is that we'll be a productive part of each day, from the rising, one sun to setting and rising again. We'll always be a part of that. Thank you again for allowing us to share with you the updates. Thank God again for His mercies and a loving hand of protection and provision. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.